All right. Try attempt number 3. I don't know why this is the problem.
All right, count me down though. Count me down. I want a special countdown.
All right, D-Mac, in 3, 2,
Oh
1.
Lord.
2.
There it is. You're good.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Halo Council. My name is D-Mac. Of course, I have my very white friend from Virginia as my co-host. His name is Gandhi. Who knows why his name is Gandhi? And of course, we have a very special episode for y'all today. Today, we're going to be debating Boss Nasty and Native. Now, on previous episodes, you could catch me bashing Boss Nasty. A lot of people have seen me do his impression of his voice. I think I do it pretty damn well. And of Native, we questioned his move to why he joined forces with Boss Nasty. And I think we're going to clear some of those things up today. So, guys, welcome to the show.
Yep, thank you.
How are
Thanks for
you?
having us. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
good.
it's our pleasure. Oh, by the way, XSplit is just... I'm computer illiterate, and XSplit has really screwed me with this update, so I couldn't get this on the Halo Council, but only mine was working. So, that's that. Without further ado, how are you, Boss Nasty? No? Nothing?
Oh no, sorry, I'm here. Apologies. I'm trying to mute the mic when, if I'm not talking. But
Oh,
no,
no.
I'm doing fantastic. We're doing pretty good. We got a lot of busy stuff that's been happening with our schedules as far as getting the team finalized and finishing up house details and things like that. But so far, everything's going pretty good. I think my mom's watching, so I have to give my mama a shout out, Mrs. V Lopez, not Mr. But yeah, so.
All right. Shout out to Mrs. Silva. What's her name? Mrs. Vila?
No, it's Mrs. Lopez. We don't
Mrs.
have
Lopez.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mrs. Lopez and all the mothers that are watching. We appreciate an older audience. I think as growth, that's important.
That's why I have the goatee. But,
My first question, real quick, man, is why a team house and why for Halo?
Well, I think that's definitely a very important question. I know initially one of the big things that Brett and me discussed, and this happened a little after Providence when he hit me up and, we decided, hey, we want to do something together as, I've known Brett for a little while since the beginning of 2011, I believe, if I'm recanting correctly. But ultimately we wanted to do a team house because, Brett, obviously, with things that happened with the golden ticket, which I know some people would definitely bring up, and I'm sure that might be something to touch up on. But, that was obviously done online. A lot of the things that I've worked on in the past were, of course, done online with previous teams that I've worked with. But a big thing we realized is that, what? If I'm in a business meeting and I'm going to give a presentation, I would rather give that presentation in the actual business conference room live, going over my PowerPoint presentation than doing it online, from across the country or whatnot. And there's just a lot of advantages that we have being able to work together in live, being able to have everyone look at the screen, going over film, being able, yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off. I really don't. But obviously, we know the advantages of having a team house. Of course, you guys will be there together. That's something that's super important. But with this major decline in a community of Halo, with the question of, is there a season in 2012, why put this team house together now? That's really my question. I'm sorry, I should have worded it a little better.
No, it's okay. I was eventually going to try and work into that. But no, it's another great question. As far as that goes, I don't believe at all that the Halo community is declining in any way, shape, or form. People can obviously come out and, say numbers, and if they feel like referencing back to MLG events and whatnot and saying, the spectator numbers haven't always been there or are declining, but everyone's still there. It's not as though everyone left and now they're never going to come back. You know what I'm saying? There's people from League of Legends that come over and watch Halo as much as vice versa, as much as StarCraft players. Everyone's always kind of going back and forth, but what it really comes down to is, what are we going to do that made Halo 2 such an exciting game to watch? If we really think about it, Halo 2 is what really took off Halo in the beginning of MLG and kind of more. Obviously you had Halo 1, but Halo 2 really was something that kind of had that, uphill, that really ginormous uphill steep to it and just took off with everything. And I feel as though it's how do we get from where we're at now to there. And this team house, this is something that is going to rejuvenate it. It's really going to kind of spark it all back.
I don't mean to cut you off again, but I'm just trying to keep this moving a little bit. But I don't see it. I don't see financially how it's feasible. I don't see the overall business plan. I mean, when you point at, like, take a look at the LAN network. They had all the money in the world behind it, and obviously they did something a little bigger than you as far as putting events together.
Not to mention all the superstars.
Yeah, and they had all the superstars, and you're taking somebody like Nated and adding a few amateurs, but I just don't see the longevity. And I think, like, come on, dude, that's the big question here. As far as a business standpoint, Nated is a dude who has a son in life. He is married, and he is looking
I'm not married, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's not married, but he does have a kid, all right? And he's probably looking to have some financial stability. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett. That's something that you're probably looking to have. How is Boss Nasty going to provide that? Because all I see is false hope. That's really all I see.
So, what's your question?
Is how you're going to have any kind of financial stability within this team house for Halo, because there are no Halo events as of now.
As you were saying before, I mean, like, how you're saying, like, you know, what if Halo is not on the circuit or whatever? I mean, like, we're willing to do any game, you know, any game that will, any shooter game that we can benefit from. You know, if Halo is not on the circuit, we'll go to Gears of War or, you know, whatever it may be. But we wouldn't know until things are announced, obviously. But
okay, all right, D-Mac. I have a question now. This goes directly to Boss Nasty. Boss Nasty. You speak of this house basically being, you know, the gift to rejuvenating the Halo community. How does a house of 4 players getting together plus a coach rejuvenate the community? Because to me, it's just, you know, we've seen similar things like it in the past, and it's just failed miserably time and time again. And I mean, no disrespect by this, but I mean, your only superstar's Nated. I mean, if you really wanted to get a house that would rejuvenate the community, you would grab Ninja and McWin and all these, or like Flame Sword, any of these guys who stream all the time. Nated, what does Nated do for the community that makes him the end-all be-all?
Well, to answer the first question, which I think there was like 2 or 3 parts there, but I'll start with the first. The first you were asking about how is this house going to be something that's going to rejuvenate the community.
Correct.
It's simple. There have been a lot of other houses, agreed. You know, no disagreeing there. Obviously, we have ones like the Straight House. I mean, if we look at houses specifically for shooter games so far, we've had the Straight House for Halo, you've had the Fear House for Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken, as well as the Insane House for Gears of War. But see, all 3 of these houses share one very big kind of downfall characteristic in common, and that is that none of these houses were live streamed. And if you're not live streaming a house, then you are ultimately killing yourself on one primary source of income that you can have from running things like ads and doing a partnership with Twitch TV or OWN TV or whoever it may be. The first big difference is that we're partnered with OWN. Alex Popa, got to give a shout out to him, customer relations manager over at OWN TV, who we're closely working with and partnered with them. You know, we plan on having that be one big source of income that we're going to be making. And we've ran the numbers, we've done the projections on it. Even if we had a minimum of 1,000 viewers coming to the show and watching us live, and we're going to be streaming 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. But let me answer your question more specifically. How is this house going to rejuvenate the community? I'll tell you how. None of the other houses that have ever been made or created to this point, I mean, we're talking Korean houses, we're talking the EG house for StarCraft in Phoenix, Arizona, we're talking the Team Solo Mid house for League of Legends, I have no idea where that is. But all of these houses, all of the houses thus far have missed one key element that they have just yet to provide. And what that is a learning experience. When someone goes onto a stream, when watch you guys commentating...
This sounds like a seminar. It really, I just don't mean to cut you off, but the running around and just, listen, Justin, other people have tried what you are about to try. And they've tried it at the peak of this community. For you to tell me that you are going to attack this from a different point of view and then say your big plan is live streaming, I just don't see the big picture. I really don't mean to cut you off, but I just don't see the big picture. Maybe if you had some sort of big sponsor locked on, I could see it. But what if there's no events for Halo in 2012 and you put a team together?
They answered that, Dick. They're going to switch to other games.
No, but what if you switch to Gears of War? You guys are not going to make top 8. Come on, there's been people playing that game for 8 to 9 months.
Yeah, there's no chance.
Let's just be realistic here. I'm not saying you guys aren't good gamers. I consider myself a good gamer. But if I dedicated myself to one game, I would not be able to be the best at another game. That's just plain facts.
All right. Regardless, it's just okay. So basically,
Okay. Will I be able to answer the question or finish the answer at all?
I was just gonna rehost it so you could have a chance. So basically, you left off with saying
It was a learning experience.
learning experience.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So as I was saying, first off, the very first reason. I mean, first off, DMAC, I understand where you're coming from based off what you're saying, but at the end of the day, there has never been a team house like what we're going to do, and I've already proved that through pointing out that they weren't live streaming. Even if I only had one reason or one example, one is still more than zero. And that's exactly what all the other team houses have. And that's a big reason for why they weren't successful, because their primary source of income that they relied on so heavily was tournament winnings, was payouts. Maybe they had some sponsors possibly or things of that nature, or personal sponsors. Obviously T2 for Tom Taylor, that was a big thing he did, he had back when the Straight House was going on. But outside of that, they weren't utilizing all these areas where they can make money from. Live streaming, doing ad revenue on the channel through backgrounds, through pictures. They weren't doing anything such as YouTube, maybe running online advertisements using Google AdSense. There's so many ways to tap into money that they didn't utilize.
I'm saying they weren't. If you go to the LAN Network house, what else was Mr. P setting up? He set up everybody's streams. I think consistency was the big question, and the fact that people got deterred from the fact that nobody was really watching. I think those were the two biggest things. Mr. P had a very tough time getting people to watch. He had a tough time getting people to subscribe later when he had to go to subscription. And the reason he did that was because he made more money from having 100 people subscribe to $10 than he made from everybody watching and him streaming all those hours and running continuous ads with 3,500 plus people watching. And he did the numbers. So how are you going to attack this any differently? That's really the main question, because other people have tried to monetize live streaming for Halo and tried to make a big chunk, and every single person has failed. Especially, like I said again, especially with the fact that there might not be any events in 2012. There's no reason for anyone to watch Halo, so why would anyone watch? I don't see it. And that's kind of like, I just don't see it, dude.
My question, or my thing really is just, it's not so much the business. It's this false sense of security on this 1,000 viewers. I mean, I don't see 1,000 people. I mean, do you guys really have that big of a fan base? I personally don't know. This is a question. Do you have that big of a fan base where you think you're going to be able to pull 1,000 viewers consistently for 14 to 16 hours a day?
Well, first off, before I answer that question, let me just answer DMAC's question. When DMAC stated that no one yet has been able to make a living from live streaming, that is incorrect. Actually, Ninja is someone who made a lot of his living off of live streaming during the past year, and I think the past second year. He actually said it in a post on a thread when people were asking about what are the possibilities from live streaming. He actually came out and said that he made about $20,000 just from live streaming alone for the year.
But he has a fan base.
At his parents' house, so he's not living on his own. He's living at his parents' house. He's still going to high school. $20,000 is nice, but it's not sufficient amount of money to be living on your own in a home.
I mean, that's more than enough money. I mean, I lived off of less than that easily when I was living on my own in Phoenix, Arizona, and I had my own apartment and everything. I mean, remember, we're not talking about a house. We're not talking about the nicest car, the nicest house. We're not talking about the nicest things. We're talking about what can you live off. There's a lot of people out there that live off the bare minimum. So to say that that's not something that he can live off, regardless of, I mean, we're not judging what is a good living or a bad living. We're just defining, can this person live for the year off the money he or she has made? And Ninja
you're
has done
comparing
that.
it to the number one dude. For you to think that you're going to get involved in this and make as much as the number one dude, I think that's just preposterous. I mean, that's Ninja making 20K when Ninja completely owns Halo Stream. He completely owns it.
This topic's done. I'm gonna go to a commercial.
Well, you have to
break.
understand, Diva, you have to, again, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but once again, Ninja is someone who, on average, sure, back in the day, the other thing you have to look at, too, is that Ninja back in the day when he first started doing a lot of streaming, right, he was the guy who really, from all the Halo pros, he was really hitting live streaming really, really hard. As you said, he was the number one, but once again, that still disproves and counters what you said when you said there was no one that does it. Ninja has done it, so that disproves what you said. Moving on, though, the bigger picture is that Ninja, he was the first one to really, really come out and really try and mainstream, Halo live streaming with, his unique characteristics and things of that nature. But then now we have a lot more streamers coming in. I mean, now you got Tom, you got T2, now you got Roy Lunchbox, Ogre 2. You have all these other pro players, even some of the guys on the newly formed, attempted Infamous team with Snipe Down and somebody that I knew, obviously he streams. So a lot more people are coming in the scene. Now, Ninja, he averages anywhere from 600 to maybe 700 viewers, give or take some. I've seen him peak over 1,000 easily. Okay. Now, how we're going to relate those numbers, and this goes back to what you and Gandhi said about how are we going to meet those conditions and those expectations. Well, when we ran our first live show, and this was to do an announcement for our roster. We did about a 3-hour show, and this was, granted, holiday season during Christmas. We ran a live show on December 23rd. This was a day and a half before Christmas, and we still averaged over 500 viewers concurrently. The 3 hours, it peaked at like 600. So, I mean, first, and on top of that, even more so, to go back to the LAN network question as well, I mean, let's look at what are our numbers going to be when we're not streaming during a Christmas or a holiday season. What's going to be happening when that's not a permanent thing? I mean, easily going to be taken over that. And the LAN network, I agree, that was a concurrent. You have to understand that was a big thing that the LAN network lacked, was consistency. They did like one mini tournament every month and a half, whatever it is, and it wasn't a consistent streaming. So you can't really say that the LAN network has tried it because this is a team house where we're streaming 14 to 16 hours a day. 7 days a week. It's not even comparable. That's like comparing apples and oranges.
Scott, I will throw this to commercial after my 1 point. All I'm saying is you are talking about having a player who gets 1,000 viewers, but you're talking about doing that for 4 different players and have 4 different players bring in $20,000 unless you want 1,000 viewers split among 4 people. In which case, you're not making very much money at all. I'm saying, fine, you may be able to get 500 to 600 people on one stream consistently. To be realistic, you can do that. But for you to say that you'll have 500 people on each stream for all 4 streams, I just don't believe it. However, I do believe that you are going to be someone who is going to try his hardest and may reach that goal. I think you are going to prove a lot of people wrong. When we come back, we'll talk about all the team changes that happen, some of your team changes, what you guys are looking at, and a lot of big team changes to talk about. Status, straight ripping.
We're talking about coaching when we return.
Okay, and some
You're not running this shit.
All right, let's go to commercial.
All right, I gotta wait like 5 seconds, right?
That's my little nephew. My nephew's he's rallying right now. Come on, I got to you up though.
I don't know when we're come back. I still don't. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Wow, you guys just shit on him.
Yo, D, do you have the stream up so you can tell me when we come back in?
Yeah, I think we're back.
All right, welcome back. Now, here comes a topic where I actually feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I can talk about, and Boss Nasty, you claim to have it. So let's talk about coaching as a whole. Now, first off, Boss Nasty, you're not a pro coach. You've never coached a pro team or anything. You do know that, correct?
Well, if you're referring to MLG's specific
we talk about
definition of what they define as a coach, even though MLG doesn't set the standard for the professional gaming scene as a whole, yes.
I like how you deflect it, but regardless, I mean, for what you're doing, you've never been a pro coach. So if you're in the MLG scene and you've never coached a pro team and done it at an event and placed pro, you're not a pro coach. But that's regardless. Now you believe that the coach should be calling all the plays, correct?
Well, first off, to answer your first question/statement, that just ultimately depends on how you actually define a coach, or excuse me, better yet, a professional. Some people can define a professional based off of him making a living off of what he does. A lot of other people could define it based off of, which is a better definition personally, as well as just more universally recognized, which is based off of an accumulative amount of knowledge and experience in order to qualify yourself as a coach. I mean, let's not get it twisted at all in any way, shape, or form that Sundance himself, CEO of MLG, has already came out and he said himself that he regrets giving players the titles of coaches. You know what? Let's go ahead and take a listen for ourselves.
What do you... No. That's not how it works. No, no. They're just going to come on here and play
What are you talking about? I mean, he...
I get that, and people can go back and listen to it. That's no. Okay, listen. I get it. That Sundance. I mean, he has.
First of all,
okay, D-Mac.
He's not the end-all, be-all of what's right and wrong. I just want that to be known. Sundance, Clap, they are people who are pioneers within our community, but they're not always the people who are 100% right. I just hate the fact that when people hear something from them,
did you hear that?
Automatically correct. I don't see that.
Did you hear what I just played?
No, we purposely talk louder because I said no.
So, I mean, but what you have to realize is Sundance himself came out and said that he regrets calling these people coaches. Jerry, founder, owner of VVV Gaming, even came out and said that there's just so many poor examples of coaches, and no one at this time ultimately defines what a real coach is. I mean, I'm sure you guys had coaches when you were growing up in sports, football, basketball, soccer, baseball, whatever it may have been. I mean, you can't tell me that all your coach did was just sit there at the sidelines and hold a timer for when the match ended and maybe just shout motivational things out to you. I mean, that would be ignorant to say that.
The people who are the best in the game are playing. They don't need anyone to tell them how to play it. If you honestly believe that you, who has no credibility at all in a pro circuit event, could teach Ogre 2 something, could teach any of the top guys anything, then there is something wrong with you. He has 5 national championships. You've never even placed pro. There's no possible way you can sit there and even fathom the fact that you could teach Ogre 2 something, or that he's done something wrong.
Yeah, Justin, even me, somebody, I've played in 2006. I only made pro once, and look, I'm not somebody who could go out and coach some of the best. However, I do supply some strategy, and I take a look at the numbers, and I do what I do there as an analyst. But I'm not better than these people, and I don't think that I could lead them to victory. I think those are the minds that really need to lead themselves to victory. They are young kids, so yes, we can mentor them a little bit. But for you to say that you are going to be this dude who is going to lead these guys when these guys have put in all the work, and I've really never seen your name within the Halo community. As far as what you've done, I just don't see it as you being a coach. In fact, I don't see why Brett would join up with you. And maybe this is an opportunity for Native to answer that question.
Well, I mean, regardless of, how you said, like, over 2, if he can teach anybody anything, I mean, he's taught me a lot, just from the times that, the few things that I have learned from him. I mean, the reason, the whole thing is, like, the reason we're going to be different than other teams is, what he can bring as a coach. And, he even said, all the things, he did a text interview, Justin did a text interview with Gillian, and, he listed everything he does as a coach. And, bringing all those things in, and playing the right way as a team, it's something that's never been done before.
It explains playing together as a team that's never been done before.
Because I think.
Well, I mean, it's really simplistic. I can explain it real quick.
Yeah,
that's once again. The difference is that I'll give you a prime example. You know how every single time you always hear interviews, or you have these pro players from MLG events and they get interviewed, and one of the biggest things that they always consistently keep saying is you have to team shoot. It's all about teamwork. Those are some of the things that you will always recurringly hear. But then why is it that in every single breakdown I've done thus far, I've never seen any of these pro teams at minimum expectation at least hit around a 50% minimum 2v1 ratio per each encounter or each scenario, which would define team shooting. I mean, they put so much emphasis on team shooting, but then why is it that we always see them so many times in individual one-on-one situations?
There's a lot of variables for that, Justin. A lot of people cannot put themselves in a 2v1 situation. I know that a lot of players look for that. A lot of the players look for that. It's not like something that a lot of these players don't look for. If you're one of those players that just tries to play as an individual, then fine. Maybe Native because he's never been the player with the best teamwork, more like individual skill. Okay. Yeah, I'm not attacking you, Brett. I'm just stating that you are a player who was known more for his individual skill than his teamwork, and you've changed over a little bit now. Am I wrong?
Well, I think what you need to do is you need to define and show us someone that actually is known for their teamwork, and then give me a prime example to state facts, because you need supportive evidence to make a statement.
Ace? Yeah. I don't think that anybody needs to coach Ace when he plays. I think he is one of the perfect players. He has the perfect amount of aggression, and he knows exactly what the hell he's doing. And that's why he was able to coach Straight Rip into a national championship when he didn't make it as a team. There was no problem, because Ace is an incredible player.
You know, the amazing thing about what you said there is that all you really said was that, the sun rises in the morning and then sets at night. You were very broad and vague with you. Actually didn't prove anything amazingly enough. I can do the same thing. You want to hear?
You've been doing this. You did the exact
check it
same
out.
thing
When Assault goes out, Assault can go start coaching people because he's a pro player and he was able to play second at the national championships and win the first event coming out, and he plays with Status Quo, sponsored by Red Bull Gaming, so of course they may not be that bad. And yeah, he's definitely more than qualified because he's on Status Quo. He plays a great support role. Wow, that's amazing. What did I really say at the end of the day? You know what? I didn't say anything because I didn't actually prove anything. Can you explain to me, though, and I would love for you to, D-Mac, could you explain to me exactly how Ace doesn't need any coaching? Explain to me what he does that is so perfectly. I would love some specifics. How is he able to coach this team when he didn't actually teach them anything?
Because he supplied them exactly with what the team needed. He doesn't need to teach them anything. That's not what a coach needs to do. Okay, what he was there is he was behind. He was calling out positions. He was keeping people's morales up, and he was making sure that everybody did what they wanted to do. Okay, this wasn't Ace's plan. Ace was there to carry out their plan. All right, that's what I'm saying. He is not Phil Jackson. He was able to just come in and do the damn thing. He did not need to be some dude trained in coaching. That's what I'm saying. He didn't need to do that. All right. Like when you look in basketball is a completely different thing. All right. Basketball, you need a damn coach. You don't need a coach in Halo. We aren't fucking.
Okay, but hang on. But why? But why? But you have to say. Well, now what you're saying is that you're assuming. But see, you're assuming that there's no way in the history of the world that a real coach, like what we see in traditional sports, could never be applied. That's ignorant to assume that. Now you're saying that we've maxed out our potential as players, as a scene, that this could never be done. I mean, you don't see how that is ignorant and kind of closed-minded to say, you know what, that's impossible?
Okay, well, first off, before D-Mac has his way with you, because I'm sure he's pissed off about the ignorant word. He doesn't like that. Second off, quite frankly, what you're doing is kind of ignorant. Now, you see, it reminds me of this, okay? There's a guy who, studies a mountain every single day, and then there's a guy who climbs a mountain. Who does it, 3 or 4 times a week. Now, the guy who studies the mountain clearly knows the most about it, but who the fuck are you going to trust to go up the mountain with? Me, personally, the guy who's been up the mountain. And what you are, you're the observer, man. That's all you are. All you have is nothing but a complete speculation. You have no title. Now, this season, if you change it, okay, fuck it, so be it. But you better have.
But remember, you don't need a title to climb a mountain.
You better have a national championship before you can even make a claim at anything. Just because you get top 8 means nothing with these accusations.
I was gonna have my way with you, but I think Gandhi just did.
Well, I think what you have to understand is that you don't have to have a title to climb a mountain just as much as you don't need to have a title to observe a mountain. Your assumption is based off of really nothing because you didn't actually prove how it is that I have not climbed any mountains yet.
Everything. Somebody you just regurgitate everything. You have one argument and you just keep bringing it back.
Well, it's not bringing it up. I mean, you claim that I'm an observer.
You
but
are.
Yet you're assuming. But hang on. But you're assuming that that's all I've done. Can you prove to everyone in the chat right now and watching the stream that I have only ever observed? Can you prove that right now? Can you provide all the support evidence about everything I've done in my life?
I can prove that you've never been on a main stage at a Major League Gaming event as a coach.
But once again, that has nothing to do with climbing a mountain. Though. That has nothing to do with climbing a mountain. The reference to climbing a mountain is just playing the game. That's all that is. You don't have to be a professional mountain climber to climb a mountain. You don't have to have a title to climb a mountain. All you have to do is be an active person who wants to go climb a mountain. That's all you have to do. You could be an AM player. That's the comparison.
Point. I wasn't saying a pro. Clearly, if I said a pro climber, I'd say I would go with a pro climber over someone who's just climbed it twice.
Okay, but that's my point, is that you didn't say you don't need a title to climb a mountain, though. But you don't. You don't need a title. You don't have to be a professional.
I don't want to talk about these mountains anymore.
So listen, the point is that you don't know what I've done. You're assuming. You haven't provided any supportive evidence to say, okay, what games have you played? Or you haven't played any games, so obviously all you do is observe. You haven't proved that.
Justin, you're trying to accomplish something, and you're making claims that you are somebody within a community that you just haven't done much for. And I feel like that's what everyone feels. You just haven't done much, and you're making a lot of claims. And we just want to see you do something before you keep talking. I think that's everyone's goal, to see Boss Nasty do something before he makes his next YouTube video about some hour-long rant. Who knows why this man has any credibility or validity to his word? We don't. And I think, like everyone else, that's something that we just want to see.
Can you prove to me how I ranted and didn't actually say anything that was going to help anybody? Because if you can prove that, then you're right. But if you can't, then you're not. And you just
I don't want to get into this. This is an opinion. I think you rant. Other people could think that you're the next fucking Einstein. Me, personally, I think you rant. And I don't think you make too many
But you can't prove it. But I want to be clear. I want to be clear, though. It's your opinion, but you can't prove it.
This is an opinion of mine.
Okay, but can you prove it?
No, this is my opinion. I don't need
Okay, so it's not proven then.
This is not a fact. I don't need
But it's not proven, right?
No, it's an opinion.
Okay, great. So what you said is irrelevant because you didn't prove it.
No. See, it's not irrelevant because my opinion actually matters. That's why.
That's like okay, but then that's like saying, okay, well, you look gay in a green hoodie.
Well, I would never say you look gay in a green hoodie.
Okay, hang on. Is that a fact though? Do you look gay in a green hoodie?
Well,
is that
I
a fact?
hoodies, and I think I look particularly.
But it's not. a fact then. That's my opinion. Why would I say that if I can't prove how you are gay in a green hoodie? You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
It doesn't make sense for you to come out and state your
Green
personal
hoodies
opinion
look
if you can't
great.
prove it.
Okay. I actually have someone who's coached before,
Assisted.
Elamite. If we want to bring him on, he's begging at the chance, if that's okay with you guys, to get his rebuttal in.
No, I mean that's fine with me. But before you do that, I would like to at least
Call more
Excuse
people
me.
ignorant or talk over us? Yes, feel free.
Well, no, not really. I just actually wanted the chance to just respond to the question that was asked to me before 10 more different topics got started up, because that just seems like how it's going. But I'm fine with having Elamite come in, but I would like to play something real quick before he does, just to
You're
hammer
not
the...
playing anything, dude. I don't know why that's so hard for you to grasp.
All right. Well, listen, Justin, I think this was great. I think we should move on to talk about these team changes, Scott.
Well, Elamite wanted to get in to say one thing, so I mean we agreed on that. So once he answers, we can go on that. Hello, Kyle.
Yo.
Hi, how are you?
Listen, Justin, I think this
Pretty
was great.
good.
You gotta mute your shit.
Oh, yeah.
Team changes,
That's-
Scott.
All right, you can continue now, sir.
My bad, I was watching this stream.
Okay, so your point.
Oh, within the coaching?
Yes.
With Boss Nasty's response to you don't have no coach has ever done it before, like known what needs to be done, like how to claim that you yourself are a coach or a pro coach. I feel like the coaching in MLG is defined by one thing. It's if you go to an event and you get one of those passes that says pro coach on it. That's the only way that pro coaching is defined. We talked about there's one community for Halo. That community is MLG, and that is the one way defining a pro coach. Going into like what coaching does, I personally know like the squad, the teamwork, it works in a unit. What a coach can do, if he's experienced enough to look at the screens and know what's going on, he can sometimes fill a gap briefly, like in that split second to where one player is missing or slacking or out of position or something. He can maybe at one point acknowledge that. But in order to do that, something that Ace was able to do at the national championships when we won, you have to be so experienced, think so quickly on your feet. You don't get that unless you have actually experienced it. Scott, you know what it means. And those split-second decisions, what you're going through your head, and even to convince another player to get in their head and convince them to do something, at that moment in time, it's just nearly impossible. So I feel like with coaching defined in one aspect and having no experience to actually be like a professional coach, that I just don't see where you can get that title from.
And I think he's absolutely right, because I could not coach. I'm not quick enough to watch and make sure that these players are doing the correct thing in game. I might be able to understand strategy and the bigger part of the game, but I can't be a coach like you guys because I haven't played at the highest level of Halo. And I just don't see how someone who hasn't done that can claim to be a pro coach.
Can you define the highest level of Halo? I'd
my
love for that to be
God.
defined.
You
Listen,
defer
I want to make something
everything.
very clear, though, is that
I've
you
never
can
beat
talk
Marvel.
anything
I've
about
never
whatever
beat
you
Marvel.
want, but remember, at the end of the day, if you can't prove anything you're saying, then it's irrelevant. You're just blowing smoke.
You do.
I've never beat an elite team, a team that's placed top 4. I've never beat them in tournament play. How
But
about
define
that?
it. Don't define it by quantity. Define it by quality. Everyone out there in the world already knows that quality is by far more important than quantity.
The
The quality of someone's play, the quality of a team's play is by far more important than the quantity of events they win at the low standard that we're at right now. And, you know, based off, and I know I'd like a chance to respond to what Elamite said, because I think, Elamite, what you said is actually very important for a lot of people to hear, is that you were only referring to coaching, more so assisting specifically, at an event. You didn't actually comment on it outside of an event, which is by far the most important, because the majority of time that a team is spending together is outside of an event, not during an event. An event is only a 3-day period, but there's about anywhere from a month to 2 months before a tournament comes up, which is by far the most important time, preparation-wise, coming up to an event. All you actually stated that someone does as an assistant, which Sundance himself already said that he regrets calling these
not
people coaches and
Sundance.
giving them the titles of it. And even Jerry said that the 4 things that only you guys do, which is to make minor call-outs, as he agreed with me and said that it was a problem in a sense, which is to make minor call-outs, do some cheerleading, maybe watch some VOD, which the majority of so-called MLG coaches can't even implement VOD on a big enough scale to actually make a factor or be a benefit to the team on a ginormous scale where it actually would be on borderline them teaching them something. And based off what DMAC just said, DMAC said that these people don't teach them, that the team tells the coach what to do. I mean, that's weird because in traditional sports, I've never seen a player tell the coach what to do. I've played soccer. I played soccer competitively. I've played at the Premier League, up at ODP level. I played competitive tennis, and my coach, I never told my coach, "Hey, this is how you do your job."
All right. So you're trying to define coaching as the NFL or the NHL or something like that, when coaching is defined in the Halo world with one regards, because we already discussed that it has one community, and that community is MLG. The coaches are pro coaches. To consider yourself a pro coach, you have to go to an event and get the pass. You are, in fact, the coach, assister, or whatever it is. If you're going to a team and watching them play and trying to help them. I've actually had that. Ace came to Straight House, or not the Straight House, Legit's condo when we were practicing. He sat behind us, took the weekend off, was there for no other reason but to coach us and watch us. He improved our team dramatically doing that. But he is a...
Okay, how? Can you prove that?
He's a player that has the experience and can break down a game. I've watched one of your gameplays, I think, one of your breakdowns, and I can tell that you don't have the experience or the knowledge of a first-person shooter to break it down and compete and teach it.
Can you prove that?
Okay. But
can you prove that, though, Elamai? Hang on. First off, Elamai, you said two things. You said, one, that Ace was able to drastically improve you. Can you prove to me how he drastically improved you? And then can you show the result from the prior event to the event after? And tell me specifically what he taught you.
He improved. We won the national championship. So
you're saying you won the national championship because of Ace?
He coached.
Can you prove that?
No, not because of us. You also have to have the players and the experience, and at that time we had those players. You claiming that this group of players, Nate is a great player, but he hasn't won a national championship or a championship at all. And to consider three other players.
Can you prove that?
Three other players.
Well, I mean, proving that Nate hasn't won the national championships is irrelevant to the quality of his gameplay on a team in organized fashion.
Okay. Actually,
you still haven't proven what Ace did for your team, and you didn't actually show results at all yet to prove and justify that he actually did something for your team.
There can be from me saying I am a coach, I am a player, I had a coach, I had a sister, I won the national championship. I don't know what more proof you want from that.
Well, you have to understand, you have to understand the universal definition of the word coach doesn't break up into a section of, okay, hey, here's the gaming definition.
We're not talking about coach.
And then here's the traditional sports definition.
All right,
that's like saying that's like saying that, okay, well, when I go play tennis in Lithuania and then when I come back and play tennis in America, the tournament settings are different when I play at majors. That makes no sense. They're universally understood across the world. There is only one definition of a coach, and that's what he's defined as and accepted as universally.
Nick, okay. Question. Can we relax
But listen, Elamai, to prove
over?
what you said, if you really want to justify it, can you show me the definition of what a coach is in MLG? Can you define the definition of that?
Justin, can you prove that? I want to know, can you prove it? All right? You say there's only one...
Hold on. D-Mac, no, you got to hold on for 3 seconds. One, I added Nexi, so hello, Nexi. But more importantly, my producer from the Halo stream, you're actually quoting Sundance wrong. Sundance said he was sorry about making the word pro so easy to attain, not about coaching. That is from Lennox, who works at MLG. There is your proof. I can prove that, so you can take that little argument.
Can you prove that?
I have one thing.
I think what you have to understand is that the title of the word is still relevant to the word itself. You saying what Sundance said based off the title of the word coach is the same thing as me saying, well, he regretted calling them coaches. Same difference. There's no change there. It's the same exact thing.
But listen.
So thank you for not proving anything, but good try.
Nexi's going to talk now. That's like saying you can't compare. All right. You could say God, right? I could say I'm a God, and you'd be like, no, God are perfect. God is this and that.
Prove it.
Fine by. So a pro player is whatever a pro player is now. If you're going to change that, change that. But do it in your actions and not with your rants on YouTube.
You can't prove that it's a rant.
Can you prove how I only ran on YouTube? I'd love to see some proof.
It's an opinion. You can't prove opinions. That's why they're opinions in the dictionary.
But that means that it's not proven.
Subjective. Just like all your statements.
Boss Nasty. They're an opinion.
Hence why it's a personal opinion. It's something you keep to yourself.
This is a talk show. This is an opinion show. This is what we do on this thing.
But remember, it doesn't matter if it's your opinion. At the end of the day, you haven't proven anything. You can state 1,000 opinions, but how many facts did you state?
Well, wait.
Zero.
You don't have to prove opinions is the point.
Bro, but okay, listen,
but
I'm not
Ballsam-
talking about you necessarily proving your
Justin.
opinion. What I'm saying is you can
Justin.
state 1,000 opinions about me, but at the end of the day, you still stated 0 facts.
Justin.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Wait.
Let me.
I'm
have,
gonna throw up.
Let me have a stab at the delusional one.
I just threw up.
Okay. You realize that you have proved nothing, correct? Justin.
I'm sorry. Say that.
You
Sorry,
realize
what?
you realize you have proved nothing.
I got
at
some-
all.
Well, I mean, I've proved a lot. I proved that Sundance.
How have you proved it?
A lot of
Can you
things.
prove it?
I'll start with number one. I proved that Sundance regretted calling you guys coaches with the audio clip that you can listen to.
Oh my God! Okay.
So,
Well, what about all your?
I proved. Hang on a second, but I also proved that Jerry, owner and president of VVV, even agrees that there's only 4 things that assistants or MOT coaches do, which don't define the word coach, and that there isn't a difference between a gaming coach and a traditional sports coach unless you can show me a definition that is universally accepted by the world. There is one definition
That's
of
the
a
least of
coach,
my worries.
and
That
that
you
is
can
someone
bring
that's a
up.
teacher.
I
That
think-
is universally accepted by every single
this is
human being.
wrong.
And
That's the
gonna change
least of my
every time.
worries. That's the least of my worries. Now, can you prove that your team's gonna be the quality? No, because they haven't competed. Can you prove that you're gonna have 1,000 viewers for your 14 to 16 hour long shows? No, you can't. So that is all speculation. You can't.
I mean, I can prove it. Can I have a chance and I can prove it all to you?
How can you prove it? Because you're not in the house, are you? You're not about to
but-
shackle these
but-
fucking poor
Assumptions
kids into
that
a
I can
fucking
only
house.
prove it if I'm in the house, but that's not what you asked. What you asked is how can I prove my quality of what I'm able to do? I can prove to you the quality of being
How?
able to
Because you
already
haven't
do what
competed. Your team hasn't
No,
competed.
man,
There is no
no.
quality. There is
Okay.
no
But-
proof.
But there is quality because I've already done it before.
No, because that's
You
subjective.
have it.
That's subjective.
It's
Okay.
not subjective. I've already done it before. I have
because-
already been a part of a number 1 undisputed team applying the same principles and foundation characteristics and methods
You
that I'm
haven't.
going to be applying to this
Do
team.
you have
Yeah.
Team is the
schizophrenia?
number 1
Is
undisputed
this-
team in the game. that we
No,
played.
he's not saying Halo. He's saying a different game.
No one's talking about Halo. Why are you guys always so
What
assumptive?
game are you
Hold on,
talking about that you were on the number 1 undisputed?
Okay, so you're not going to assume now. I'm going to have a chance to actually speak and
I'm not
present
gonna
my...
assume.
Oh my God.
Okay, thank you, because you were assuming before when all of you guys were jumping and saying, oh my God, he's talking about Halo! No one's
He
talking
just
about
gave
Halo.
you time to make your point. Make the
Talking
point.
about Halo.
Make the point.
Listen,
Go.
I played a game back in the day on original Xbox called Conquer Live and Reloaded. This was one of the most competitive titles next to Halo 2 at the time. They actually came out and
I
said
actually
that
met
this
your
game-
teammate this weekend.
Who? A teammate? Who?
I forget his name was started with the P.
Okay, well, I never teamed anyone named with a P. But
You never
anyways,
did
like
with
I
anyone.
said-
He plays Gears of War now.
Prove it, Gandhi.
I'm
I
sorry.
was playing.
Can you
I was
prove
playing.
it?
I was playing this game back in the day. Clar actually had, it actually reached and peaked over Halo 2 at a time for the most Xbox Live users ever on an original Xbox game for about a whole month. And they actually had over like 2 million people, if not almost 3 million by the time I stopped playing, that played this game competitively. It was on Game Battles back, when it was
How do you
right
define
after so
pro there?
everything. And so, first off, we're not defining pro, we're defining quality. And quality based off what I'm able to do and how what I did previously is going to affect and apply in the same manner to what I'm doing now with the team house. That was Gandhi's initial question. We didn't ask about pros, so that's irrelevant. Thank you. As I was saying, is that back what I did with this team, the reason why we were the number 1 undisputed team, I played for a team called
I'm
No
not
Radar.
gonna lie. It's getting boring. I don't care. Get to the
Pretty
point.
damn 7-11, played with some other guys. And what we did day in and day out, this was back in
Circle around your
5.
point. Just say what
And
you
all
say.
all we did was
The
go into
two
my patch,
sentences.
practice training strategies, do team scrims, watch film after we recorded games, and we all were on the same page. We weren't on the same page as players, we were on the same page as people. And that's what really makes the team. That's what really allows you to say, you know what, I want to train that, I want to practice that way. I want to
Boss,
focus
I
this
got a
time.
question for you. A real question. I'm gonna take it very seriously. Do you care about respecting the community? Do you care about the respect that you get?
Can you give me an example?
Like the community, do you care